Rock and roll. What's up, everybody? We're going live again. Here we are live again for the weekend dividend communion, and I'm so happy that you've joined me and you've seen me. So I guess it's a thing now with the official Dapper Dividends Burns-O-Matic, which is not gonna. I gotta block out me and him to say, the heck with it. You get the idea. We're slowly working our way through this candle. I guess it is, Greg. It's the symbolic start to the stream, right? You know, our weekly gathering, our communion here, where we're going to talk investing. Get these three little wicks lit. Three little wicks. I'm sure there's an analogy somewhere in there for investing, yeah? Ooh. Anyway, okay. Enough of that. So, hi. Welcome back. There's not really much of a topic here. Dividend dude Dan, what's up, man? I hope you guys got the newsletter. That was kind of a fun one for me to put together. If you haven't gotten it, a bit of a thought about REITs and BDCs. Pardon-moi. Yeah, also, as I was like running, I kicked the tripod camera here. Messed up my angle. Oh no, Steve doesn't like the candle. Please, pray tell Steve. Steve, we want to know from you, why don't you like the candle? You know, we can have it pre-lit. We can arrange these things. It's our show. We can coordinate that. But anyway, I got no dividends this week. What dividends did you guys get? What are you sipping on? What are you doing? I was in touch with Mr. Ryan Williams. The wedding went off without a hitch. It was really, really successful. Dang it, now I'm got to worry about old Ben. I got to get rid of, remember we talked about getting rid of this Ben Franklin thing? The problem is with the autofocus, if I look away, it'll focus on him and I go out. So the candle's burning this down. It's in front of it, man. It's in front of it. So I want to know, what did you guys buy this week? What are you buying? We'll get to that. I guess we can talk about what we're doing. We're gonna, you know what? Let's kick it off with news in a minute here. We'll let just a few more of you filter on in. Bring your questions, bring your comments, your concerns. Oh, by the way, I did finish. Let me, if I get this right, I did finish The Art of Quality Investing by Compounding Quality. You know, it's a pretty good read, pretty easy read, 209 pages ish. There's a link below. It's an affiliate link. I just threw it on there. If you want to buy the book, I don't remember what it's going for, but I think I paid maybe just under $20. I think just a shade under $20. And yeah, oh no, Dan's right in the middle of reading it too. All right, John, I'll tell you. I guess dividend dude, maybe just pause it a minute, but I would say one of the things in there that really got me thinking is looking for a 15% return on invested capital. That's something that I've liked, right? Because you want your return on invested capital, those dollars that are invested, to be growing faster than the weighted average cost of capital for the business. So for some businesses, it might be 8%. So if your ROIC, your return on invested capital, is growing at 15%, well, then his rule of thumb is most of the time, a 15% return on invested capital is going to be good for shareholders, good for the business, creating lots of money, lots of growth opportunities. It's indicative of a business with a sustainable competitive advantage. So that's kind of a cool thought. At the end, he kind of goes through some sectors that he wouldn't invest in. That's kind of another thing that's getting me thinking. We got, I think some of them in there were the automotive industry, particularly automotive manufacturers, real estate and banks, I should say, not real estate banks, because I don't know, is that a thing, a real estate bank? But real estate and banks, they use a lot of debt. For the quality businesses, we like to stay away from debt. They have, David Ride, you're up on ROC 18%. You know what, man? I don't know off the top of my head what ROC is. That's not Rockwell Automation, is it? But hold it, man. Like, why? What are you going to use that money for instead? Like, what is the purpose? What was your thesis for investing in ROC? I think that's kind of the end of the thought I was wrapping up there. So really interesting getting you to think about that's like his bottom criteria. If it doesn't have a 15% return on invested capital, it kind of gets ignored. A site that they talk about in the book that I've never really used is finchat.io. So I might play around with that and see about that. So that was the thing. But also in the newsletter, what I talked about was perhaps if it's time to, Steve, okay, well, at 18% on in one of my funds. Okay, I didn't know what that meant. It sounded like a fund. I know return on capital, there's return on capital employed, return on invested capital. There's a whole bunch of different ratios that you can look at. But yeah, I didn't know if he was talking about a ticker there. Yes, I think we'd need a little more information on what it's in, right? Because if you're, I don't know, in some kind of a penny stock, I would probably say take the money and run. But if you're in some really good business or I don't know what it is, but do you really? Cody, which bar can you say? Do you want to say? Because actually my wife and I were in Chicago on Friday night, right? We didn't get to go for my birthday. We went to, oh, nice, BMAX, David. Yeah, we'll look at that in a minute. Or Davd. I know I called you David. I'm just adding in vowels to your name. Bali, I'd like to buy an E, Pat, or an I. But what was I saying? I don't know. I'm getting, all of a sudden, my brain just flashed to that board with Vanna White and Pat Sajak. I don't know. They're embalmed or something. They're pickled. They're still doing their thing, although I think Pat Sajak is retiring. So, yeah, isn't that funny how the mind works? That's one of the problems I think of getting older. All of a sudden, I get the board, and in my mind, I'm watching the show. I'm like, what's the puzzle? I want to solve it. I need to buy a vowel. So what I was saying there, Cody, is that we went nice. I like The Simpsons. We're in the city. We went to a bar called Replay on Sheffield and Lincoln Park. They have video games. They're all free to play. Most of them are free to play. And then we went to place called Holiday Club. This isn't going to mean anything to 99.99% of you, but just a little bit of fun there. So yeah, this is kind of the new format, loosey goosey. We don't know what you're going to hit us with. We will look up BMAX. Is Jim in there? Yeah, there you are, Jim. So Jim, did you see the news? I totally forgot to include this in the newsletter. Was about I'll just show you guys. So we'll do the latest news. I think we'll just pop that real quick here, get through that really fast. And then Jim, I'm going to, just for you, man, because I think it was you. You or Steve. I think it was you, Jim. About this business was Case New Holland. This is one we had talked about, but yeah, Jim, I don't know if you saw this, that Scott Wine, I had heard a really good interview with him about a year ago. He literally just unexpectedly departed, and he was really putting his stamp on Case New Holland at turning it around. And like it says right there, it was starting to bear fruit. So yeah, Case New Holland, they make a bunch of farm equipment and things like that. And all it said was he's leaving to quote unquote pursue other interests. I need to put myself in the lower here. That's what I needed to do. But yeah, anyway, so that's for you, Jim. Case New Holland, they, there we go. I'm looking at my phone. Yeah, their CEO left. Their stock was down a bit, but okay, news. News you can use, everybody. LCI, Automotive Parts and Equipment. I've never looked into them. I've never really heard of them, so shout out if you have, let us know. But they got a dividend downgrade from 60 borderline to 50 to the lower end of the borderline safe bucket because their leverage ratio stays elevated as high rates weigh on RV and boat demand. So apparently they supply a variety of components to RV, and I'm going to guess boating, but never heard of them. Southern Company, ticker SO, 2.9%. The utilities, I don't know. They, I've not soured on them, but I think there's better opportunity elsewhere. And if I was living on the income and income dependent, then I might go more into utilities. But there's just not a lot of dividend growth, capital appreciation growth. They're just, they're there. They're regulated by the government. They're going to pay those dividends. Just nothing spectacular because the government is going to tell them how much they can charge. Essentially, they got to clear it with, with good old Uncle Sam. Well, I say Uncle Sam, but probably at the local level, county, I don't know, state. Either way, Southern Company, shout out if you want to invest in them. Short seller Fuzzy Panda put out an accusation for Globe Life. This is one that Berkshire, interestingly enough, in their last 13F filing, they sold out. They dumped completely out of Globe Life before all this hubbub came out. Did they know something? They may have. But anyway, Fuzzy Panda, in a nutshell, accused Globe Life of fraud. They just said they're fraudulent, insurance fraud. And then, the shares dropped, I think, 50% in one day, something crazy like that. Took a bit of a dead cat bounce. But, hey, that just goes to show you, man, they had been 92 very safe. Crazy things can happen. I know they've denied it. But the DOJ, I think it was, opened up an investigation into Globe Life. Ameriprise, ticker AMP, raised their dividend almost 10% for their 19th consecutive increase. I don't own them, but a 1.44% yield, that's below the 5-year average. So nice raise from them. MetLife, this is one we sold out of to consolidate into Prudential. I kind of at the time had Prudential and MetLife, and we put it all into, I wanted to simplify and start to consolidate things. This was, maybe 2 years ago, year and a half ago. But MetLife raised their dividend 4.8%, their 12th straight year of payout, and 3.1%, 3.10, I think you say. So MetLife, a couple more here coming at you. Otis Elevator, ticker OTIS, raised their dividend 15%, 4th straight year. We'll go through these a little faster. Again, just pause the screen if you want to read these. A little bit more in depth, whatever they have to say, and look at this little dividend chart here. But Granger, company I'm familiar with, raised their dividend 10%, and I think 52 years they've been paying that. So they are a dividend king. Energy Transfer, big favorite with a lot of you. You get an MLP with them, or they're an MLP, so you get a K1 that raised their distribution. Not even 1%, but check that out. It's their 10th consecutive quarterly raise. So way to go, Energy Transfer. Hooray. They reaffirmed Verizon's safety score of 70, and they think that their dividend remains solid as their subscriber base holds steady, and they're continuing the deleverage. I looked into it. Their debt is coming down a little bit. It's not crazy. Here, I can't. I'd have to click on them. Here, this is what I want to do. I'll just zip down to, sorry, I know. Don't try and read this. But yeah, their yield is still 40% above the 5-year average, but the share price doesn't move a lot. Now, we've talked about them, but look at their return on invested capital. It's just been declining, just eroding. Not what you want to see. Their debt, there it is. So they say they're deleveraging, but are they? I mean, it's still pretty high. It looks flattish, like radish to me. I think we had like 2 more on here. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. No, you went too far. And we got RTG. I don't know Reeves Utility Income Fund, but they reaffirmed their score of 70 safe. They refreshed their score of 62 safe on one we talked about in the newsletter, Main Street Capital. Das Capital. Parker Hannifin. Man, this is one I should have bought. I use Parker hoses in my line of work. They do a lot of things. I think they also do something with EV batteries to keep them cool. So the heat that the electric vehicle batteries generate, they don't blow up and explode. So they do a lot of things, Parker Hannifin, but I know them for their hydraulic hoses. But yeah, they raised their dividend 10%, which is their 68th straight annual increase. So they are I don't know what you call them, super dividend king. And I think we got 2 more here. Cisco, not the tech company, the food distributor. They're a dividend king also, raised their dividend a measly 2%. So not pacing inflation there. And then almost lastly, What do you guys think about this? Let me know. I'm going to get to your comments. Zip through Alphabet, started that dividend payment, 20 cents per share. And they give them an initial safety score of 80, which that could probably be higher because they're a cash flow machine. And then lastly, they reaffirmed CVS's safety score of 90, very safe. So that took too long. I apologize. We got to get through that a bit faster. And oh my God, my God, my God, look at you people. All right, questions. Fire them away. What do you want to know? What do you want to look up? We're going to look up for Davd with the General Lee on his avatar. We'll look up BMAX when I get caught up on your comments, because that's what we do around here, people. Oh, look at this. Shamir might be in Chicago sometime in June for a James Bond exhibit. Let me know, man. We'll see. Maybe Cody and I, maybe we can do a meetup then. We'll do it in your honor. Yeah, I keep talking about doing a Chicago area meetup, and Mike Kojak, if you're out there watching, you were supposed to email me with you might have a place to do it, but I don't know what happened. I didn't get the email, so I don't know. Cody, we'll talk. I think I have your text message or text, right? I forget. There's so many people, and this is what's crazy about this between people in the community and other creators. I forget. There's just so many. There's so many people, but maybe we can do something with that. So that would be cool. Is there really? I didn't know. Why wouldn't I go if I'm invited? Really? Morningstar Investor Conference in June. And isn't that when Shamir said he's going to be in June? So we got the James Bond exhibit and the Morningstar Investor Conference. I mean, that sounds like fun. I'd be all about it. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if you need credentials or what, but yeah, man, maybe we do a meetup there or something. That would be cool. John says, do you all like life insurance companies in general? Yeah, they're all kind of diversified though, right? So if you're watching, share your thoughts. I mean, yeah, I don't know if AIG does that. I know Berkshire, has their foot in that door, but Berkshire is probably the biggest one with I know they have Geico. I can't think of the other name. We should do a whole thing on that. You get to see everything in their investment portfolio and then all the businesses that they own outright. Thank you, Michael. I knew I could count on you to clear some of this up. Utilities are regulated by state utilities commissions. They earn an authorized return. So a utility in a growing area can provide surprising growth as rates are set. Yeah, that's interesting. When I backtest utilities, they always seem to just pale in comparison to a lot of other things. So that's kind of why I sold out of Duke. I mean, the share price really hadn't moved much from when I bought it. It's just cyclical. It seemed like it would go from the mid 80s to touching about 100, maybe a little over, and then come back down to the high 80s, low 90s. Dude, Matt, that's awesome. You have $1.16 in Petrobras Brasileiro. I don't know. They have Italian accents in Brazil, I guess. But $16.35 share price. And that's cool, man. I don't really know much about them. I think that there is country risk, right? There is risk with the Brazilian government. I know the Brazilian government, I believe, from what I remember reading, could be fuzzy. Things do get a little fuzzy. Not like Fuzzy Panda fuzzy, but I think the Brazilian government, right, has a majority stake, or their majority stakeholder in... What's the difference between stakeholder and shareholder? Does anyone know? Is it the same thing or is it different? What is the proper vernacular for that? Oh, Manulife. Yeah, Jim, you've got Manulife. That is in Canada, right? Manulife? No kidding. Good old Swami G. He's actually one of the owners of a natural gas utility in a growing community. How does that go? Are you one of those competitors that try to get you to switch the provider from the big guy to you? I'd love to know how the inner workings of that. And Swamiji, that was one of the brilliant, one of the memorable moments from the Berkshire annual meetings. I've listened to them all twice, right? So there was an Indian dude who kept calling Warren Swamiji. Maybe Shamir or somebody, I don't know. Anybody know what that means, Swamiji? But it was a term of deference. Like he liked it, and he wanted to wash Warren's feet or something. I don't know. It got a little weird, but it was endearing. You could tell the man melt well. He melted well, like a good grilled cheese. What you got going on, John? Would you say VZ and T are like utilities and like a utility proxy? Yeah, people have said that they're like bond proxies, but yeah, well, the dividend didn't stay steady for T, did it? Now, but I consolidated Verizon into AT&T, and what I should have done is just sold out of both of them. And it's when you do that chart, they're so very capital intensive businesses. And as I've shared a dozen times, when I first started doing this and bought AT&T, why? Because everybody bought AT&T for the dividends. I used to see their trucks on the road. I'd see dudes working up on, out of the bucket trucks. I'd be like, yeah, look at that. They're out there working for me, making me money. And I drive a little more and see an AT&T store. I'm like, look at that. People in there. But here's the secret. That means there's a lot of overhead and it's very capital intensive. Why? Well, maintenance on the trucks. You got to replace the trucks. You got to get people to drive the trucks, training, tools, equipment. You got to rent the stores. You have to have employees, turn the utilities on, the lights in all those stores. So yeah, it's a very capital intensive business. And when they're paying out a pretty good dividend too, that's just less money that's not going to go back into the business for like research and development or growth opportunities. So yeah, that's I'm just not a big fan of them. And so here's where I struggle, and I'd like to know what you guys think, but they say that the moment you don't want to be in a stock anymore is the moment you should sell it. But yours truly, when I do that, I wait and wait and wait, and the share price very rarely seems to come back up. Looking at you, Leggett and Platt and AT&T. So Papa Powell's big speech this week. Kevin, I'm not. I don't really care. I mean, they're eventually going to cut rates sometime, but who knows? Higher for longer, maybe here to stay. We can't predict the Fed. It's a fool's game. I enjoy hearing predictions. I enjoy reading about it, but it's not really going to affect my investments all that much, except buying more REITs. Because I think, right, that's why the REITs, as we shared in the newsletter, my God, the REITs have professional, I know, yeah. Don't eat before you do live stream and talking, people. You got to remember. You just got to remember. But where was it? Where were we? Yes. The REITs, because of the interest rates rising, REITs have struggled and come down. So that's an opportunity, but I've taken advantage of the opportunity after it happened. I'm not trying to guess anything. So that's, it doesn't worry me. And I will just tell you the safety score on NextEra Energy. It's 90, very safe. And that dividend of 3.12% is 45% above the 5-year average. So there you go. You get a dividend safety score of 90, and they reaffirmed that on February 8th, 2024. So my man, Pat, that's what it is. I meant to put you up there. New haircut. Oh, baby, this is an old, if you only knew. So part of my thing is trying to save money wherever I can, spending it lavishly on things I love, right? In the vein of Ramit Sethi, in his, you frugally and mercilessly cut wherever you can on things that don't give you deep, profound meaning and joy in life. And you save that money, but you do spend lavishly on things you do love. So, for instance, if you like going to concerts, cut out everything else as much as you can. But when it's time to see a group you like or whatever, get the first 10 rows, get the front row. Like, make it a memorable experience. And that's what it's all about. Like, because we have to live our lives too. There's things you can't quantify on the spreadsheet. You just can't quantify every dang little thing on the spreadsheet, like happiness. How do you assign a numerical value to happiness? I don't know. So anyway, so back to your point with the haircut. Yeah, I do it myself. And it's been many, many years. And one of the reasons I have this hairstyle, it's twofold. One, the reason I like to give is I say that, I saw a picture of my grandfather when he was a young man in the 1920s. He was born in 1914. So he was a teenager in the late 20s, and he had a haircut very similar. It was just slicked back, and it was shaved on the sides and the back. And I saw that, and I didn't start doing it till I tried hitting fire. But I was like, you know what, dang it, I'm gonna bring it back, and I can take care of it myself. So it saves us money. I'm able to invest more because I maybe one time a year on Veterans Day here in the United States, for Veterans Day, you get free haircuts. So what I'll do is I get my free haircut and I tip the girl $10. So essentially I pay $10 a year for haircuts is what I do. Well, I guess whatever you want to call the electricity that it takes to run the clippers for 5 minutes, but yeah, so that's glad to know I look 10 years younger as I'm pushing 50, man. I'll drink some water out of my Starbucks hypercolor cup for that. All right, I'll tell you what. So because Frank and Jay, you guys want to see, we'll look up the safety scores. I will pop those on very, very quickly here. And yeah, just do Kenview, Starbucks, and CubeSmart. So we can keep on keeping on with the program. Right, yeah. So we'll bring up Kenview first. Shrink this a little bit. It's KVUE, spun off from good old J&J. There we go. Kenview is a dividend safety score of 70. And then you guys also wanted Starbucks. You got a 67 safety score. And what was, CubeSmart. I remember it. Dang it. Click on the wrong one. And CubeSmart, the REIT. Once upon a time, I invested in CubeSmart. 5% yield, 61 safety score for that. So there you go. There's some safety scores for you, Frank. And Jay's potato chips. They're from Chicago, too. Janice, it is a great community. And I see I'm getting caught up. I'm behind here, so I said it wasn't going to happen, and it happened. So here we go, really quickly. Dan, yes, utilities, I think, I agree, are one of the worst. I don't know if I would say that. I asked the difference between stakeholder and shareholder. Frank says stakeholder is everyone involved in the business, even the clients. I like that. Dan, nice. No growth portfolio. Verizon, AT&T, some crappy utility companies, tobacco companies, oil and gas. Yeah, man, you're right, except for some of the oil and gas transportation, right? Like EPD and Energy Transfer have been killing it. They have been killing it. And yeah, to build on your point, those would be high yielding, but if the share price isn't growing, I mean, that's when it's best to go to Seeking Alpha, or there's a link below for Dividend Channel, the dividend calculator. You can do a total return comparison, and you can see with dividends reinvested how sometimes these high yielding stocks underperform something that pays a low yield but grows a lot, like a Visa, You know what I'm saying, man? And Swamiji, he has the natural gas in the locality, I think. Okay, 50% the last 2 years. How did you get in on that? What, let me know. Yeah, Wintech, ABR, Ivan, I forgot his name, your CEO. I've never invested in them. I don't really understand the mortgage REITs, the MREITs that much, but you know what, man? That's, hey, if it works for you and you sleep well at night and it's meeting your needs, that's all that matters. And that's what's beautiful about this investing game is there's more than one way to financial heaven. But I would say I am, evolving way more into quality, looking for just quality businesses that are going to keep growing a lot and still pay some kind of an income. And then maybe, maybe when I'm a little bit older or a lot older, that's when I'll start to, just shift into stuff like the utilities or the telecoms, because not really worried about share price appreciation. So look at you, Jim. You sold Kraft Heinz. All right. I know. See, it's so hard. So you're going to get caught up. But the big motivator was like what we just talked about, the dripper calculator return. Investing $10,000 20 years ago, you would have lost almost a quarter of the investment. Yeah, and I will say it's a good eye-opener, but with all things, the caveat always has to be, we don't know the future. But it's kind of like, right? Kind of like Wayne Gretzky. And he shared this in The Art of Quality Investing. Walter Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky's dad, had said that you want to go to where the puck is going to be, not where it's at. So when we look at a business's past history and past performance, it's kind of the same thing. It shows us the trajectory of where it's going, but it doesn't mean that's where it's going to end up. But there's a high likelihood that where it's it's on that path. It's on the rails to go where it is. So yeah, hindsight's always 2020, and I know that's just the ultimate disclaimer ever, right? Is that past performance is not indicative of future results, or however that goes. So an espresso machine. Oh, you know what I forgot? I plumb forgot my hot tea. So I don't drink coffee, but that is a fantastic tip, Matt. Oh my God, I drip water on my mouse. Oh no. Oh no, Timmy fell in the well. What up, Lassie? I don't know. It's right? Random stuff that, I caught myself. Random stuff that just pops into your head that you've accumulated over the years. It's just, some things I don't remember. If your brain is like a computer, things have been purged from my mind. A lot of the things I learned in high school, but things like that, like, Lassie fell in the well. I don't know. All right. Now, yeah, that's no good. Oh, put ketchup on the hot dogs. Dude, I like it, but I can't, especially in Chicago here. People, I don't know how to say it, but you're kind of viewed along the same lines as a detestable, like a Nazi or somebody in the Ku Klux Klan. It's a big no-no here in Chicago. I don't even know where it started or why, but yeah, Dresh, you put ketchup on a hot dog, people are gonna have a problem with it. Oh, good point. I didn't show you what I bought last week. Let me ramble on for a split second as I pull up my newsletter, because it'll just make it super easy, that I had shared this morning to all of the Hey, I only got one unsubscriber. Very, very nice. While I'm going through, let me open it up, and then I can zoom in a minute and share. So good point. Good point. High tech. Nice to see you again, by the way. So I'm going to share with you, beautiful people out there in live stream land, on our weekly Dividend Communion, what I bought. All right, here we go. So this is from the newsletter published 9 hours ago, just before I left for a charity volleyball tournament my daughter played in. Yeah, we touched on if it might be time to sell BDCs or think about it. It's a question I have. And I show that Main Street Capital is at an all-time high. I'll just paraphrase here. I shared out Buffett said interest rates are to asset values what gravity is to matter. So when rates are low, very small gravitational pull on asset prices and blah, blah, blah. Essentially, BDCs are doing well with the higher interest rates. REITs are struggling. I shared all the rate increases. Last one was July of 23, which is when there was a big divergence. These top two lines, if you can see that, I know it's small. I'll explain it. The top two lines are Main Street Capital and Aries Capital. The bottom two are ADC, Agree Realty and Realty Income. July of 23, this is when the divergence really started separating. So that was the last rate hike. But anyway, so I just asked your opinion on it. But I received no dividends. Currently supposed to receive about almost 7,500. We do have a little bit of cash still. So I sold 2 covered calls. Let me make these even bigger. There we go. For ease of viewing. PepsiCo, I sold a 185 covered call. Looked at the chart. I have a feeling it won't get there, and we'll see about that. I may buy it back this week. Altria, guys and girls, I still do want to exit Altria, so I kind of sold this one aggressively. Expires Friday at 44, because if I don't do it this way, I may never get out. So I'm kind of hoping the shares get exercised. And that, again, that's 100 shares. If you want a little more explanation on calls, we can do that. But here's what I bought. This is the average. 2 TD, Toronto Dominion at 58.67. 7 more shares of Agree Realty we bought at $57. Non-dividend stock, I put Harrow Health. Oops, it's Harrow Inc. 10 more shares of Harrow Inc. This is what happens sometimes when you're going fast. Slow it down. At $10. This is one that's a growth. Purely, I don't want to say speculative, but I think that they're going to easily be $20 a share one day. Way more potentially. Don't know when that is, but it's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take time, a whole lot of precious time. Shout out George Harrison. Not many people. That's his one-hit wonder, right? I got my mind set on you. That was George Harrison, right? Put in the comments. I'll hurry up and get there. Anyway, there's the rest of what I bought. 3 shares of SCHG at $87. I don't know. Tune in to hear this guy singing. 1 Schwab SCHD at $77.74. 1 more share of J&J and 1 more share of Starbucks S-Bucks. So that is, ladies and gents, what we bought. And now I am going to zippity-doo-dah down through to... All right. Oh, no cost. Yeah, you saw. So what I do, the only way that I'll monetize the newsletter, people, is at the top. There is, I'm part of something called Spark Loop, and what it is when you see that. Who's sharing it now? Not Morning Brew, the morning newsletter. Oh my God, I just had it up here at the top of it, and this is a little, I know, inside baseball, but for the early bird by Market Beat. So what the early bird does is they will put up like $2,000 to Spark Loop, and they put the word out to us and we share it. And then if you click on that and sign up for their newsletter after like 10 days of not unsubscribe, whatever it is. So if you subscribe to their newsletter from that link in my newsletter, then I get $2 per person or something like that. So for me, this is a labor of love, and that's good enough. I feel that's a pretty, unobtrusive way to make a few bucks, is just be like, and I'll probably change it next week because I think Spark Loop was getting toward the end of their, and they'll show you, it'll say like, there's, $31 left in their thing. And if they don't refill it, then you're just sharing it out of the goodness of your heart. So kind of a fun thing. Now, that's when you'll see the header change, and Ryan does it too. But Swami G, you were the lawyer that formed the gas utility. Oh, okay, cool. That's very, very cool. All right, skipping through to the bottom here because I hate it. Kevin Burgess, when I ask a question and then I have to wait 25 minutes to hear it. So you have my apologies. And Dan says that if Amazon dips on earnings, you might have to buy. Oh, I do have. We can talk about what's coming up this week. I have that up still. And then whatever you guys want. Ask questions. Now, you see, dude, I just love you guys. I get hung up on all these because you bought KHC because it was a Buffett favorite. Yeah, or he got it. The deal was different. There's so many different moving parts to consider. And again, this is exactly why, it doesn't matter if Warren Buffett bought something. You have to buy it out of your own conviction, because I know Warren has said there's been times that they've sold stuff. They liked it just fine, whatever they sold, but they saw better opportunity over there that they needed the money for. So you never know, unless Warren is going to call you on the phone and say, hey, Jim, we're selling this thing because we think the company's got big problems and might be going out of business, So, yeah, mustard only. Dude, you know what, Dan? I like the, it's criminal. I love the Chicago dog where you get, I'm going to make myself hungry, but and they're so bad for you, but on a Rosen's bun, the Vienna beef hot dog with the green, like the neon green relish, onions, chopped onions, mustard, and celery salt. And you can't forget the tomato and the sport pepper. Man, that is just some of my favorite stuff to do. Okay, you guys are talking about your hot dogs. And let's see. Good, I'm getting close. I'm almost close to caught up with you guys. KHC will fly high as a recession is looming. It might, but it might not. We don't know. Wasn't it Peter Lynch? What did Peter Lynch say? Something about more money has been lost, something like betting on when the recession's going to happen than actually in the recession. Something like that. Interesting. I did not know that Hamburger Helper was sold to a private company. Very cool. This is why I love you guys. Yeah, the Canadian banks are and now it's got me thinking. They're solid, but I'm going to do some soul searching and thinking, as it's shared in Art of Quality Investing. He immediately rules out banks and real estate. Anything in banks or real estate is like out because they both use a lot of debt to do what they're doing, run their business, and he doesn't consider that a component of quality investing. More Visa. Yeah, Visa did have great earnings. That's one that sooner or later, and this is where I'm being honest, but going from Altria to Visa, I'd like to make that move, but in my mind, even though I know it's the right thing to do, I still see that yield going from whatever, almost 10% to, I don't know off the top of my head what Visa is, probably like less than 1%. And while I don't need it now, I have to just get over that psychological barrier and understand that I think, just for me personally, that I'm investing in a better business, and that business is going to perform, have a better total return, right? And I know Ian's latest video talked about total return investors versus dividend investors, which is definitely one thing you could have. Oh, My Sweet Love. Isn't that the song he got in trouble for? Didn't George Harrison copy like the Shirelles or something like that? Maybe somebody can Google that up. Google that and let me Google that and let me know which song that was. I'm pretty sure George Harrison had a little bit of trouble there because he ripped off a song by, I think it was some Motown singers. I'm pretty sure. Canadian banks are awesome. American banks are sketchy. I think we're going to see, don't you guys think we're going to see a lot of consolidation in the American banks? There's so many. But in Canada, I know there's less people, but there's so many banks here. Nice as well. What's up, man? I'll drink to you with you playing your guitar. I play guitar too. Obviously, you can see this. Oh, nice. You see, I told you that my head, I kicked the camera, and now I just got the guitar somehow coming up out of the direct top of my head. But that, yeah, it's an Epiphone. So for those of you that don't play guitar, that's an iconic guitar, and it looks like a Gibson Les Paul, but it's not. It's a knockoff. It's the budget version. It's about half the price, and it sounds about half as good too. So you're getting what you pay for when you pay up for premium, which, hey, there you go. Investing. You want to buy premium. There's a premium to pay for very good businesses. In today's world with the internet, it's very hard to find a quality, fantastic business trading for dirt cheap. So oftentimes, I know Warren has talked about this, just paying a fair value for an amazing business is about the best you're going to hope for. And a lot of times you're going to have to pay a small premium to get into those good businesses. So That's the way it goes. So yeah, UNH, good deal. United Health. I don't remember MSCI and LW. I should. Uh-oh, Crypto Zach, what's up, man? Hey, we welcome all here. Once upon a time, this guy was looking in all the crypto stuff too, bought some of it, kept it stupidly. Some people told me, not your crypto, or not your keys, not your crypto. And what did I do? I put it all on Celsius. It was only about almost $5,000 worth of crypto. And yeah, that was dumb. Dumb. Because people are going to jail likely from Celsius. Just, it's the Wild West. Unregulated. So lesson learned. But you know what, man? Yeah, I have some Bitcoin. It could be the future, but I don't know. When it's mass adopted, when everybody starts using it, I can't see the price fluctuation going crazy, right? Because that's what a currency is supposed to be. You have to have a stable currency. You don't want whatever it's pegged to. I mean, you don't want it jumping 10% one week and then falling 15% the next. And then, do you know what I mean? It's really going to muck up the values of things, I think. So it's a weird thing to say, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts. If Bitcoin became like the world's currency today, I don't know what that would do. Probably initially spike it, but then I think it would plateau, and I don't think it would be an investment opportunity anymore. So yeah, again, man, not knocking it, just giving my thoughts. And I've been very wrong, because I should have bought it when I first started looking at the dang thing, and it was, I don't know, maybe it was like a little over $1,000 a coin, and I bought physical gold instead. It's like dumb. Yeah, Bitcoin, did they cut the dividend? I like it, man. I'll take it. Oh, my sweet Lord. Yeah, I'll see. I'm sure some of you guys asked that. I should preface every question with the caveat, like, I'm going to ask you a question. Hopefully I'm going to get to it in 20 minutes. No, I'm almost there with you guys, so. Yes, John. Google does pay the dividend. Oh, Ivan. How many stocks in the portfolio is the average for dividend investors? Dude, it's all, like, yes is what the answer is, because it's really just whatever you want. A lot of people think 15 to 20 is the magic number, because if you're going to invest in individual businesses, you should be able to keep up on them, at least annually, at least paying attention to news, seeing what's going on in the business, trying to understand if anything fundamental is changing for your first investing in them. And yeah, so, probably a good number is 25. That's probably a good number, but some people are comfortable with, like Jason Fieber, comfortable with north of 100. Other people, he's not a dividend investor, but, Monish Pabrai sometimes I think has 1 or 2 in his fund. So yeah, it's just all going to be your personal, how much of that stuff stays on the hot Doge? The hot Doge. We're eating hot Doges. All of it. I am a very delicate eater. I don't get it. Yeah, only in Chicago is a hot dog a buffet. A buffet, huh? Yeah, we go down to Jim's on Maxwell Street, get some, actually one of my favorite things to eat is the Polish sausage. God, I love the Polish sausage. It's got the grilled onions on it. It's just big and juicy, and you got mustard on it. Grilled onions, the Polish, the mustard, and the bun. Dude, I'm in heaven. That's what. I've never been to Manhattan. Yeah, Jim, just make sure you add him, with your caller ID. Like you add, just in case he ever wants to call. At BILETF, Matt, I have not. I'm almost caught up. I got to get caught up, so remind me of that. But Swami G, yeah, and that's the thing. I challenge you guys. It's in the show notes, in the description for Dividend channel. Click on calculator. I think the link I shared just goes right to the calculator. have fun with it. Go back 5 years, 10 years. I think the most you can go back is to 94. But go back 15 years and compare dividends reinvested to Visa and Altria. And the default is it always just does $10,000. So a hypothetical $10,000 invested on a day that you pick until whatever time frame. And it will show you too. It'll show you dividends. Well, I don't want to do it now. It'll take up too much time, but it'll show you the first one is with the growth of the 10K with dividends reinvested, and then the bottom one without. And it's really striking how these good businesses that pay low dividend yields, and I know we did a video on it too, but yeah, and again, and this is one of my learnings, is avoiding Visa and Costco specifically for a Leggett & Platt or an AT&T or a Verizon because the dividends were higher. And that's just been a big mistake of mine, is focusing on the yield. So don't do that. Don't just focus on the yield. But you know what? Honestly, I don't beat myself up for it, because at that time, with the information I had, I thought I was making the right decision. So it's not like I knew better and said, I'm going to do this anyway. So don't beat yourself up when you don't know how the future is going to turn out and you make a decision that you think is optimal with all the information you have available to you at the time the decision was made. So that expands into life too. That's something I've learned. I mean, I love it, dude. We can get into crypto talk too. Here, once you realize crypto is the way. Oh no, he's sounding like them. Stocks are being digitized, banks collapsing. Yeah, I know, but the businesses aren't going away. It's just all that is. Bitcoin is just a medium of exchange. That's all that it is, right? I mean, I don't know how you value it. It's a commodity. It is a commodity. It's a medium of exchange. And I don't see the investment opportunity into something that has no cash flow component to it. You can't figure out any kind of potential future value doing a discounted cash flow analysis. It just sits there. Well, digitally it sits there. I mean, I understand it, but for me, you swap out gold and Bitcoin. I understand they're different, but to me, it's the same concept, And it could be, man, and that's one of the problems, is that it could be a Ponzi scheme. It could not, but yeah, dude, here we go. I'll just put you on there, Dan. And that's kind of what we think, is that you're betting that somebody will pay you more for it because it doesn't do anything while you have it. I understand you can loan it out, but if I had to choose between, receiving a farm or a bunch of Bitcoin, well, the farm, at least you're going to receive all that it generates year after year after year and still have the farm. And with those earnings, with whatever yield it generated, you can reinvest, do more things with that. But as far as the Bitcoin, like that right now, I think is what Dan is saying, is that you need somebody to pay you more for it than you bought it for you to realize any kind of value or a return on it. So yeah, it's, I'd love to have Zach on, Steve. I mean, dude, yeah, he's faceless now. Did you guys catch that video? I saw a little bit of it this morning, but you know what we're doing here? This is what I love. And this is what a lot of the faceless channels don't do. And some of them, like my guy, Kanwal Sarai, that I talked to when we were off the recording and we were talking, I told him, like, you got to go live. He said, oh no, I'm too scared to go live. He's like, I know, he said it really freaks me out, not being able to edit something out. And I told him, I'm like, man, this is part of the fun of it. I was like, I muck up things all the time. I stumble over words. I have brain farts. But this is part of the human thing that I love sharing with you guys. So I can contact him. I mean, he's a big channel, but we'll see if Zach will come on. So, and you know what? This is awesome. I love you guys, but I'm going to side with Dan on this one because, and correct me where I'm wrong, I'd love to know how, I feel I know a good amount about Bitcoin, but I mean, there's the blockchain. I think the blockchain is incredibly valuable, but the Bitcoin, which resides on the blockchain, right? I mean, and it consumes a lot of energy too. Like it's really, really energy intensive, but I agree with that. One Bitcoin, I know there's the halving and all that, or the halvening, whatever they call it, but yeah, it's to me, it's like, how is it not a medium of exchange? And how can you value something that has no cash flow component to it? That's kind of one of my questions. Oh, LW, one of the biggest producers and processors of. Oh, I heard that Chicago accent sneak through there. Processor. LW is one of the biggest producers and processors of frozen French fries and other frozen. I can't do it. I really need to concentrate. McDonald's gets their fries from them. No kidding, man. I don't think I've ever heard of LW. Oh, I love you guys duking it out about Bitcoin. Hey, you know what? Dividend dude, that's fun. You should have Crypto Zach on your channel. You guys can duke it out. But I love opinions. I love that we keep it civil. If not, I don't care. Yeah. Ask hey, what's up, Matt? What's going on with you and Darth? I catch bits and pieces of it. Well, we don't need the show to devolve into any of that, but I don't know. Can we all just get along? I got caught up to you guys. If anybody has any ideas or, if you're okay with it, how I can get caught up faster, but oh, it looks like you did it, Jim. So if we did isn't that crazy? So what's the dividends reinvested though, Jim? Because that's 20 years back, Visa versus Mo, which Visa crushes Mo. Do it with dividends reinvested. I think that's, yeah, do it real quick, Jim. We'll stay on and hang out till you put that in there. Or we could have done it, but yeah, and like I've said, God bless for, the people that enjoy crypto, and I get the appeal. It's something new. It's the hot new thing, but it is, yeah, man. And that's a great point, Pat. And I know we sound like old fuddy-duddies, a lot of us, like we don't understand it, but investing is looking at the returns that something will bring you, and especially if those returns are predictable. But with Bitcoin, I don't, there's no cash flow component to it. It doesn't produce anything. So I don't, I don't know. This is what, man, I should have you guys both on to just, I don't know, we'll Jerry Springer it or something, because I don't, yeah. So Darth didn't like how you said TSLY is not a good investment and you shouldn't focus on dividends at all costs and focus on buying solid companies where dividends are a byproduct. I agree with that. I mean, you'll see, that's, maybe is the way you said it. I don't know, but I agree. I'm not a fan of TSLY. Obviously, I just did a video about it. So, yeah, but we all got our opinions, and I don't know. That's what, look, now I got caught up and the room's gone silent. It's gone cold. Come on. So hopefully Jim is getting that return calculating thing. And, okay. Thanks, Dan. So that's with dividends reinvested. Isn't that insane? So 20 years ago, you buy Visa, 10K into Visa, 217K, and Mo with dividends reinvested, buying you more shares, and then those shares buy you more shares. So there you go. Jim, you guys both had it about the same time, although you had slightly different numbers, but either way, it's close enough. It's close enough. I mean, and I would suggest, and I would say on any of you watching, click that link below for the dividend calculator over at Dividend channel. They have some interesting things, but I really just love that visualization. And it helps me to focus on, and something I'm struggling with now as Friday in the Roth, I very well may have those 100 shares of Altria called away. And I'm kind of hoping it because, I'm not sold on them anymore. We'll have to save that one, John, for the next, or, email me, shoot me an email, John, and I'll shoot you a few screenshots of SPGI. And that's cool, chat. Dude, that's cool. Tesla had been down. My daughter still invested in Tesla, although she doesn't, her analysis was like, I see them, they look cool. Yeah, I do still own Nexstar. It's still my biggest individual position that we hold. And again, like I say, in the 401k, we have mutual funds, and that is the bulk of our, investments. But what I share on the channel, where you can go to dapperdividends.com and click on the My Portfolio on Gitcoin, which, by the way, it's okay, but I'm looking for something that I can show and share that will update automatically, because I'm busy and I don't want to update it every night, but I'd like to share with the world what I'm buying and what I'm doing. So, anyway, so I still do hold Nexstar. I could probably talk to you for the next 15 minutes about it straight, but I do own them. I'm going to end with you two. So, end with Jolivera. Whirlpool thinks is a great recovery play, very undervalued. Man, I don't know. That's a good one. Whirlpool struggling. I know they have issues with international and whatnot, but hey, this is what's beautiful. Nobody knows the future. Nobody can predict the future. Professionals with high-flying machines, I know it sounds real, gizmos, whiz-bangs, and wang doodles. I think those are all Willy Wonka quotes, yeah? They have trouble predicting cash flows and earnings for the next quarter, let alone 5-10 years down the line. So nobody knows what's going to happen. We love it. That's what makes investing so interesting. But what we do know is going to happen is that this guy right here with the two thumbs, thanks you. Seriously, thank you for spending some of your evening with me. We do know we're going to end it with good old Pee Wee Herman. So I really enjoy talking with all of you. And Friday, make sure you say hello to Ryan Williams. He is newly married for his live stream. Congratulate the newlywed man. And I will see all of you guys next week. So peace, everybody.